Okay. Welcome everyone. We're super excited to have you here and welcome to this first of 2025 MetaMask Developer Community Call. And we're super excited. And co-hosting with me is Alejandro. Alejandro, how is it going? Where is the energy? Are you excited about this first of the year call?
Super excited actually to be here. We're going to be talking about like really interesting stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
quite
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, it would be difficult to close up. Like last year, we had this call and we had so many kind of like high quality kind of like presenter updates. And I think like this, I think like we step up the game. I think for this time we brought a mix of things, right? From product
Yeah.
updates and let's actually dive into it. We have a packed agenda. But before we start, like quickly introduce yourself, Leandro, for the people that doesn't know you. And yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, yesterday it was like my second birthday on Consensus MetaMask. So yeah, 2 years at
Nice.
Consensus MetaMask. I'm contracting for this and 3 year working on as a software engineer in the Web3 ecosystem. Like doing a lot of stuff, building stuff, smart contracts, front end, whatever. So yeah, and like I'm really passionate about music, like an extra thing around there. So yeah,
Nice.
that's basically me.
So next time we want to hear the intro music from you. That's for them.
Okay.
No, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, but I mean, I think like sometimes people underestimate, but Alejandro is building right now a lot of like different CLI. So if you're working right now with MetaMask SDK, a lot of like DevRel work around onboarding is definitely like being supported a lot on Alejandro, and he's just a great human being. He's also like around hackathons a lot, so you can really like DM for any ask around the SDK on around those our tooling. And I think the cool thing is out of this call is we will get also like some product updates from Adam, and now we're getting into our agenda, but it will be on SDK. So for the people actually working currently on SDK, we have a lot of things that are happening right now. Cool, and yeah, for the dozen people that doesn't know me, yeah, I'm just always starting with the other things, but definitely like if I'm playing chess and you wanna win, play with me because I'm learning, and yeah, I'm being around the block for a little bit, and just passionate about kind of like developer onboarding and general kind of like developer things. So that's why we're kind of like running this call. And I think it's super important for not just the community, but for people to see what we're working around and updating you. But most important, those calls, and we will tell a little bit why we're doing those calls monthly for the people that never heard about this call last year. But those calls are really like to empower everyone in the community. So you will see that we are also inviting hackathon winners. We're inviting cool people that are building cool stuff, and also a lot of like partners working with us. Okay, so let's kind of like jump into the agenda. So what are we talking today? And also, Leandro, feel free always to interrupt me if you have anything you want to add. But so we will kind
Sure.
of like introduce a little bit what's going on. We'll have Adam that will actually give us like a product update. So these insights are very useful for us because we are shipping, we are cooking all the time, and we want to bring you also the kind of the most important part that I think they're relevant for the developer community, but also in general because sometimes we also like. Showing you what we are shipping around, kind of like features around the extension. So not only around developers. And I think like last two months ago we brought actually like Daniel also that spoke about the MetaMask card. So I don't know if you guys are listening right now, like we ship like the card now is available for a lot of like even Latam countries, and we also have a challenge right now happening of 1 ETH. We can also like put some links in the chat. And yeah, so that's the first update on MetaMask SDK. So this is a big thing. And then, as many of you guys know, we were also present around DEFCON in Bangkok, and we had actually like a very interesting team that actually built on the delegation toolkit. So if you guys don't know what delegation toolkit are, and we will quickly intro it, but it's basically like a tooling for revoking, like for giving permission to do different things, and you can build with stuff with caveats. So they're actually quite interesting. And we have this team. So Ashish and Ayush, they actually build revoke the app that will present ourselves live. So hopefully the demo gods will be with us. So this is actually our second big update. And I'm definitely super excited to have this fireside chat. We will actually bring EG and Fabian that we will actually speak about our Dean and Swell chain integration. So we're super excited about that, and we will try to get everybody kind of like flowing around this faster chat, because I think it's super important. First, what Dean is doing around the ecosystem, but also like what Fabian is doing. I think also like we will touch a little bit on agents. That I think we should touch on agents. I think everybody's actually speaking about agents right now. So
It's a
let's
trendy.
it's trend,
It's
right?
trendy.
So what
Yeah.
session, Alejandro, are you excited about to hear more? So I would ask this question at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty excited about the SDK because I've been
Okay.
doing some kind of stuff around there, but actually put up, but also like the AI agent stuff. It's like there is a lot of stuff going on there.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's see, let's see.
Nice. Yes. Okay,
Oh,
let's do
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for
No,
it.
no, I was going to say that I'm also excited to see the project of the Eat Global winner. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
yes.
also a bit
Yes.
hypey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it's also very difficult because we have only one kind of like one community call like per month, and we want to bring like literally so many kind of projects, right? Because we're
Yeah.
planning, I think right now we're even planning like 3 or 4 hackathons in a row, and a lot of time is always difficult. So we're trying to be very picky, but in the same also try to give exposure to all those great builders in the ecosystem. So if you're hearing
Yeah.
us, you're building something, could be from SDK with delegation toolkit, could even building some agents. Leveraging specific technology, feel free to DM us. We're always more open to kind of like give you the stage to present what you're demoing here. And it's great actually to see also the chat here. And quick
Yeah.
housekeeping, guys. So if you have any question, use the chat. We will highlight also some of the comments and get things ongoing. Okay, I think without further ado, we will bring Adam on stage. I just want to also like mention one thing, like the reason why we're doing this call is not just like to showing like what are we shipping. It's also really to provide in the kind of like this stage for the entire ecosystem to show what they're building, and also like showing really practical things, right? Showcasing specific demos. We're doing this calls also in conjunction with this developer live coding sessions. And I think, and this is like more for like kind of like deep dive development for a couple of hours. We're literally like streaming live if the demo gods were with us, but and we're building something together, right? Following like a specific structure, a specific kind of like tutorial and documentation. But this call is most kind of compacted stuff. So we want to give product update. We want to showcase what is happening around the ecosystem. We want to kind of bring great and exclusive builders that I actually build with other SDK or navigation toolkit. So a lot of things that are happening in the ecosystem. And we're doing this always at the end of the month. So make sure that always like you kind of remember these kind of like community calls, because that's super important. Okay, sounds good. Let's get it started. And I think we are ready to bring Adam on stage. So Adam, welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey guys,
How are you?
I'm good. I say good time zone just because it encapsulates everybody around the world. So
Nice. It's
hope
like
everyone's doing well.
GMGN.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
Everything. Okay, sounds good. Adam, you want to quickly introduce yourself? I think for the people that doesn't know you, I think you are everything SDK. I think I saw you like presenting in a lot of different things, but feel free to also like to introduce yourself. That
Yes.
you
Yeah.
and that
So
will
we can go to
better.
the next slide. I think the best way to always introduce yourself is to talk about your biggest goofs that you've made, especially in Web3. I think it's kind of funny. So before we get into that, my name's Adam. Good to meet everyone. Been at Consensus and MetaMask now for 9 or 10 months. So coming up on a year shortly. Been working with the SDK team and all the teams internally around the SDK that it touches. Been a former startup founder before and been working in product for like 7 or 8 years now. Been in tech for about, I don't know, 13, 14 years. And I've been in Web3 for, I don't know, pushing 5 years. Been using MetaMask the whole time since I got started. And I just wanted to put some funny things that I goofed on here. Definitely purchased Blute when it was hot, and then ended up listing it for 0 on OpenSea just so I could, take the taxes. That was super painful. Had so many anonymized lined up, ready to go. I'll never forget that morning. And just like gas was expensive, and of course I didn't do it because gas, and that was that was a bad decision. Totally purchased a bunch of, like, my first Solana. Like, I was like, all right, let's check out this ecosystem all the way back in 21. And within 5 minutes, it was gone. And I was just like, all right, well, that's a good lesson to learn. Totally was early on BitClout. You may judge in any ways that you'd like. And I've absolutely purchased Doge on Robinhood. So this is not an all-encompassing list of all the funny things I've done on Web3, but yeah, it's a good list. So, but more importantly, so if we go to the next slide, we could talk about the SDK. So what is the SDK? Specifically, what is the MetaMask SDK? And what it's been, obviously, we're gonna expand it, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of what it's going to become. But today, and what the MetaMask SDK has been historically, is just a single connector that is a toolkit that allows for all of you developers to easily connect your dApps to extension in the mobile app. And it just handles out of the box, whether any of your users go to desktop with extension, it connects right to extension. If there's no extension, it shows a QR code so users could scan it with their phone, and they could go desktop to mobile, and you don't have to build any of that plumbing. Or if a user goes to Safari or Chrome on their phone and they go to your dApp, as you can see in the GIF here, it will do the whole hop from the browser to the app and connect. Of course, it handles in-app browser as well, because that uses extension or injection. But users are on their phones, and what we saw was, if you go to the next slide, what's been one of the biggest problems in Web3, it's dApp to wallet connection on mobile is just tough. And I understand that a lot historically has been done on desktop, but we are moving more and more mobile. If we look at all of the data, especially all the stuff that's happening in the ecosystem the last few months, even, mobile is dominating. The more people we get to come to Web3, the more they're going to want to use their phones. And we don't want to train them to go to in-app browsers. We want to meet them where they're at and give them the options. And of course, we've all been there, right? We go to a dApp, we hit connect, we jump over to MetaMask or any wallet that we use, and we hang there, and we don't know. Do we go back? Do we wait? Is the connect modal coming? We go back ourselves. We hit connect again. We go back. The first connect modal is there. We go back, but now it's just frustrating. And this is something that we've spent a lot of time trying to fix. And the reason that this is hard, just to talk about it real quick, I'm sure many of you know this, but the dApp inside of a browser on mobile, Chrome, Safari, Brave, any of those, cannot directly communicate to our MetaMask mobile app. There needs to be a third party that, we use Socket, IO for this, that just, handshakes between the two of them. And we just really spent a lot of time thinking through, how do we make this better? How do we make this better? And one of the things that we've implemented is we're now using deep links to go from the dApp through the SDK directly to the MetaMask app. So at least in one direction, it's skipping that middleman, and we're getting the modal to come up damn near 100% of the time. And much faster. So that experience is better. And then, of course, to handshake back, we need to socket. But a lot of these things we could parallelize. And we've just stepped through all of the pain over the last several months of just critically thinking about, how do we make mobile work? And yes, Wallet Connect is an option out there. We support Wallet Connect. We support that on our team. And that's something, that we try to make as flawless. But we wanted to offer something to developers that we own end to end, as an additional option that we could just really get into the weeds of the details and try to make this flow really, really work. So if we go to the next slide, we have just, I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is just a lot of the benefits that we've been able to bring to the SDK over the last several months. And it's been really a focus on mobile, as I've been talking about. We really wanted that instant feeling of when you go from the dApp to the wallet, it uses that deep link technology, and the modals come up a lot faster. Even cold starts. I can't even tell you the amount of times that we've spent testing by just force closing the app and waiting 5 seconds, because the dApp coming into MetaMask when it's cold or hasn't been foreground, that's when you run into most options. But that's the most common use case for all of our users, because likely they're not on MetaMask all the time or any wallet. and it's booting up from the background. So we really wanted to make sure that we were sustaining 90 to 95% success coming from a cold start. So we focused a lot there. We wanted persistent connections. Want to be able to connect. And what if I force close MetaMask and force close Chrome? I want to be able to open Chrome up immediately and the connection, still persist and not lose it. And, before that would sever the connection. And it was just really frustrating for users and us. And then we brought other powerful features. You could batch transactions and there's some other really cool things that you could do. But I think the TLDR here is we really focus on stabilizing the SDK. It's something that we've wanted to really bring to the market that we feel much more strongly about. Is it perfect? No. Is any technology perfect? No. There are things that are out of our control sometimes that happen in users' environments that you at the DApp or us as the wallet can't control. But what we're trying to do is put in as many fail safes to manage those situations. And there's still more to do, but we just feel that we're finally in a place where we can be proud about this. And if you go to the next slide, it's like, okay, where is it? So we've done some work here to make it easy to get it available. If you want to directly integrate it, it's easily on NPM. You could go there, you could just pull it down. Alejandro has built some nice CLIs to just be able to bring it into your environment, but it's on NPM. If you already use WAGMI and VM, we have a small connector package that's easy to pull in that you could do right on WAGMI, which is kind of becoming the default for EVM. Not everyone, but I would say, most developers at this point just to get, spun up quickly. And multi-wallet connectors. This is a huge new wave of technology that just abstracts, a lot of the work that we have to do as developers and gives us some nice kits. So we're already live in Dynamic V4. So if you use Dynamic, please upgrade to V4 and you'll get the benefit of the SDK. It's coming to others. And what a lot of people don't know, definitely users and some developers, is in these multi-wallet connector kits, they put MetaMask as a button there, but when users trigger any of these multi-wallet connectors on mobile, it's the Wallet Connect infrastructure underneath the hood. Which again, I mentioned it works and it's something that is compatible with our wallet. But we are, we want to give users options. So Wallet Connect is always an option inside of these multi-wallet connectors, and bringing in our technology right behind the MetaMask button. That uses a lot of the deep link stuff that I mentioned and some other enhancements. So that's exciting, working with the other connectors to bring those live over the next few months. And because Alejandro did a lot of great work, some of the other engineers on the team, we just launched a whole new doc site, which is just 10x better. And I feel like the doc.
There you are. It looks like he passed to you, Alejandro.
Yeah. Okay. So let's give it a look. Actually, the doc side, I proposed like a different structure along with Tam as we build it actually. So
let me show your screen. There you are.
So yeah, this is like the new documentation that we have right here. Is actually we have like a lot of links that we weren't using at all. So right now we have the welcome message, support platforms, supported networks and all that. And also we have a demo application, which is some of the best things that we have built. By now we have like a lot of useful links or guides to start working with the MetaMask SDK. And this application is already working with the MetaMask SDK. So if we try to connect our wallet like this, it should work. And yeah, here we have like the networks. We have Linea Sepolia and Linea Mainnet right here. So we can switch our network and all these. Right now, if you come, okay, probably you were not looking at the application. Let me share that screen.
Ah, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. Wait a second. Okay. Wait a second. Yep.
Let me know when you're
yeah. No.
Screen sharing. Perfect. I see it. There you are.
So yeah, this is like the quick start application that we have created. If you connect your wallet, you're going to be able to start using it. We have like different useful links right here. So yeah, we are also building a CLI for you to scaffold a project with these applications so you can start uh, using this code on your own project. So you can start from here, and from here you can start doing whatever you want, build a cool application, a cool marketplace, or an AI agent. So we have another uh, examples repo that we have right here. And we're going to be adding new examples to this repo. So right now we have the quick start application, but I'm also working on adding the new wallet AI agent that we've built in the past, like the past week. So yeah, it's actually quite cool. So I think it's time to go back to Adam.
Thanks, Alejandro. So as we bring the screen back, yeah. So please check it out. This update is really about stabilization, and we just kind of wanted to announce to the core community that the SDK is, I don't want to call it a relaunch. I just want to call it a massive stabilization upgrade to the SDK, which what does it allow us to do now? If you go to the next slide, it allows us to start to really think about the future. And now that we feel strongly about having our single connector, stable desktop, mobile, and a lot of the stuff that we brought, now we have a lot planned to bring to the SDK in 2025 and turn it into like a true SDK, which brings you the best of MetaMask to you. And we're not ready to announce anything yet, but if you've been seeing what we've been talking about with Gator and embedded accounts, and we know that we live in a multi-wallet world now, and multi-wallet connectors are becoming a thing. There's 7702, that just got moved up in our 7715, protocol that we are also pushing. So a lot of those things and some other stuff that we haven't talked about publicly as a company yet that will over the course of the year be available through the SDK. So it's exciting, and we are prioritizing the teams that are working with our SDK in its current form now to give you early access to those things as they come available later this year. So if this fits your project, if you want to use it through WAGMI, Dynamic, or directly, please reach out to me or Francesco or Alejandro. We have a lot of great dApps. So, OpenSea is using the SDK now in their OS2 launch. Magic Eden is using it now through Dynamic. We have Galaxy and a whole other bunch of
Okay.
Is this still me? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we yeah. Okay.
No, I just want to say I think there is a bunch of update on the SDK side, right? And I think it's almost 2 years, 3 years that we are testing different waters, we're shipping different kind of features. I think with what you presented here on the CLI side, it's super interesting. I don't know if you share the CLI, you share the docs onboarding process. I just want to ask you, Leandro, also like what like today, where you see where the SDK today, I think is very different when you started, right? Like what are the things that you think that developers kind of like cared most about the SDK experience?
Well, right now I think, as Adam mentioned, is that like the mobile experience, it's quite better. So it actually has made an improvement on there. So, and the developer experience also, like having a new doc site where we have like the information pretty clear there and really well thought, and having a CLI now to start the scaffolding project using the complete SDK working. So I think that's is the best improvement that we have made in the time. Like the developer experience it's quite better now than 2 years ago when I started. So yeah, that's actually
Is
quite cool.
there like you probably be around in a lot of different hackathons and kind of like onboarding like possible partners, like any specific like use case that you see that actually like attract the most? Like it could be like smaller or bigger company, right? But I think like there is always like more attracted use cases there.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot, but actually, this way that using MetaMask, you can start interacting with the blockchain and using like the CLI. But let me try to think from one hackathon. I think one of the best that we saw before all these AI agent, Beaver, and all that is that there was a group of hackers in Brussels that made an, I think it was a snap using
I remember.
AI, something like
Yes.
that. It was quite cool. It was a cool implementation. So yeah, right now what we build is actually quite cool too, because it's similar, but it's using now the AI agents and all
Oh
that. But
yes.
that was a really cool implementation that I remember right now.
Yeah, I remember even in the live coding session, like you showed specifically how to build the agent kind of like framework from Eliza. I think like and soon
Yeah.
like with SDK will be actually super cool. No, awesome, awesome, awesome. I think
Yeah.
and I really like appreciate the fact those other drop type what's coming. I think also like developers in the audience really are interested in that. And I think on the CLI side it's super interesting because what we're building here is that people can just take it and build some kind of with a pre-built repo, right? It will also help the developer experience a lot. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Anything that you want to add, closing kind of remarks on the SDK side? I think we kind of touched a little bit everything.
Sorry for the Illuminati rugging me at the end of my speech, everyone. Classic Xfinity for those of you in the States understand the pain. But no, hopefully we covered everything. Please reach out. Happy to chat.
Awesome. Yes.
With any issues or questions.
Yes, I think also when we have kind of this CLI finalized, we're also working with some of the getting started guides on the doc side. And when we have those links, we're also like sharing. And I think also Leandro is eager to do a lot of like those onboarding videos and
Yeah.
we're testing it out. And I think we I don't know if we mentioned before, but also like we're planning to do a MetaMask Dev Cook-Off. So this kind of like evergreen virtual hackathons. And SDK will be part of the bounties. So I think for anybody kind of excited about this, we're coming soon with those information. Okay, so let's continue our stuff. So I will untoggle you, Adam. Thank you so much. The Illuminati now is really going.
Thank you,
And
Adam.
I see you later. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, okay. So let's bring it back. So right now we have Ashish on the Eat Global winner. So for anybody that is joining right now, so we're always bringing top builders around the ecosystem that are winning hackathons, they're building cool stuff. And Revoke is actually a cool story. Let me bring you on stage. Ashish, welcome, welcome, welcome. Just telling you the story. But literally, like what Revoke did was basically leverage the delegation toolkit. And the delegation toolkit is basically like a developer tooling that we have in the kind of the MetaMask kind of like family, and is basically bringing different things. And we're super excited to have you, Ashish. Welcome, welcome. And I think Ayush is on his flight, so we will be demo everything,
Yeah.
and we're excited about that. So you want to quickly introduce yourself? I totally forgot to ask.
Cool, cool. I think I'll do it while I
Nice,
present the
nice.
demo itself. I think
Let's do
I
it.
can
Let's do
go
it. Let's
there.
do it. Do you want to share your
Uh,
screen? There you are. Perfect. Let me get it.
awesome.
Yes,
Does it
we can
work?
see your screen. Love the front end.
Cool.
Yeah, that looks good.
Thanks. Cool. Hey folks, hey all. I'll be walking us through something called Revoke Delegate. We had built it at ETH Bangkok 2024. So who are we? There's Ayush, who is the developer and the builder out there, and there's me. We are essentially builders who love building out impactful and good stuff out there. We have been doing it out this for 4-ish years. This intro is not as good as Adam's, but this is something out there. So we among us also have Pepe, who's going to walk us through what the thing is. So Pepe is somebody who's very large like us, who owns some tokens, uses a few protocols across various chains, an average crypto user. Now, Pepe understands that every non-native transaction that you do requires something called an allowances and approvals. And they know that approvals and allowance can be exploited pretty bad, and they have been exploited pretty bad in the ecosystem throughout. Just to give you a number, in just 2024, we have seen exploits happening around $80 million, which is quite a big number. And across from 2022, it has been around $200 million. So the number has been quite big and consistently across years. So this was something that we really wanted to solve once we came across this. And currently, the way to manage them out is very manual and tedious. You'll have to go to revoke.cash or Ethereum Etherscan, where you have to do it manually out there for each of your tokens or each of your protocols, which is quite cumbersome. And then you have to take care about Twitter links and keep up with them, which is not that great of an experience that we'd want from anybody out there. So here, to make the Pepe happy and make sure that he's chill and not stressed out, we are into something called Revoke Delegate. Now, Revoke Delegate, what it does is it can delegate a very specific permission, that is to revoke the approvals to 0 as soon as an exploit is reported. And it doesn't compromise on user self-ownership. So though it gives out the permission to set the approvals at 0, it just does that much, and it would never take anything more from your wallet. That's the power of MetaMask Delegation Toolkit. And under the hood, it definitely uses MetaMask Delegation Toolkit, so that's always there. Now I'll be quickly walking us through a couple of flows, which are the core flows. First flow here would be like, how does somebody, a user, connects and gets around that. So here, user just connecting their wallet. Once their wallet is connected, we'll just load whatever approvals the wallet will have. Then if they choose to delegate the approvals, I'll just quickly pause over here. So here we are signing the delegation message out there, where the delegate is the paymaster. They're delegating the transaction, delegating the approvals to. The delegator is a smart account wallet, and subsequently they delegate the whole transaction to it. And once they do it, so the transaction comes successful, and you can now go back and manage your own dashboard right now. So what's happening is, now we'll just dive into the code to understand what happens behind the scenes also. Okay, let me see. Cool. Okay, so let's say what happens once the user connects the wallet. We create the delegation for that wallet itself using the MetaMask GTK out there. So here we are just creating and we are just creating the delegation for a specific function, that is the approve method. And then we are creating a paymaster, that is like we are creating the delegation by the paymaster that is gonna revoke the delegation once the exploit happens. Later, once they choose to delegate it out, once they tap on that they choose delegate button, we are calling something called signing delegation, where we are actually taking out all the addresses and making sure the wallet is matched out with the delegation and storing it out on the MetaMask. So here we are storing it out on the MetaMask storage thing out there. So this completes, okay, I think I'll move bit quickly, but I think we are just moving, and the delegation is successful once the delegation is stored with us, and then we can redeem it out later at any point in time that we'd want. So let's say what happens when an exploit occurs. So here we are just running a quick script. So here what we are doing, just to make sure, okay. Crap, yeah. Oops. Cool. So here we are just assuming that this spender address has been exploited. So we just copy paste and put it on our script that we are running. So we just put it on a script, and based on the spender thing, once we run our script, we fetch out all the tokens that have been exploited in that spender, which should come in a bit. Yeah. Once we get the tokens, then we just run the delegation to revoke it out. And once we revoke it out, we can see this message success. And now we can check it out on Etherscan or any of the scanners. So here we just see that we have set the approvals to 0. Yeah, here for the specific contract address. And we can see the same change happening on our dashboard itself. The 2 tokens have been revoked because those 2 were out there. Similarly, seeing the code out there for these 2, like how the MetaMask Delegation Toolkit helped us with it. We are filtering out the delegations with respect to the paymaster that had been stored in the delegation storage. Following that, we are preparing the revoke data to make sure we could revoke it out. Subsequently, just like fetching, going through the iterations to figure out like which tokens have been exploited, and thus building out the revoke signature to be passed across the paymaster to the delegation manager itself, so that we can broadcast the transaction. We can broadcast a transaction to the paymaster itself. So that's the complete flow. And I think MetaMask Delegation Toolkit helped us out, providing good amount of developer experience across the whole flow with the key junctures out there, whether be it the delegation manager storage, the delegation manager, or the delegation storage out there. It was pretty
Nice.
cool from them. So what are we up to for 2025? We have rebranded Revoke Delegate to something that's much more user friendly. That's Go Revoke that we are calling it out. So you can find us across platforms as Go Revoke. The second bigger thing on our item, which on our plate that we're really excited about, is make it compatible with EOA wallets using 7702 following the Petra upgrade. So we are really excited because this thing can impact this ecosystem in a much larger way, not just smart accounts. And thirdly, we're looking to launch the beta itself by Q2 itself, supporting the majority of L2s out there. So that is what's on our plate mostly. And dropping the alpha on the Go Revoke brand that we have there. So we have tried to build something that's much more user friendly. It's much more vibrant and stuff out there. So that's the overall gist that we have gone with. And yeah, I think that's mostly a wrap from our side. You can follow us out for more updates on Go Revoke and
Nice.
Twitter and
That's
stuff.
actually super cool. So
So
how you guys during the hackathon, because we always love to have these insights, how you kind of divide the work building the dApp? Was like, yeah, go for it.
so Yeah, so Ayush is the person who takes care of usually the Web3 stuff, and I help out with design, pitching, and the front end part of it. So that's how we usually divide it out. But I think it's
Yes.
very flexible between us. We just figure out things, what you want to
It's
pick
very
out,
cool, very
and
cool.
that's
No,
what
I
we do.
really like also that you put kind of like what's coming next, right? And by the way, congrats on the branding. I think it's actually super cool. And also like the fact that I think delegation toolkit is very powerful, right? On the Revoke side, I think also
Yeah.
specific use case around DID, so even like social attestation, guardians recovery, like so many kind of interesting use case where you can delegate kind of permissions. And like, what are kind of are you looking like into like other use case that you're excited about, kind of like as a builder out there, so that you can actually like throw some kind of like info out there, or what do you think?
So we hadn't like specifically thought about this one, but a couple of ideas that we were very superficially running out, like how can AI and a wallet, like a user and an AI agent can share a wallet with delegation toolkit? Because currently what happens is once you give the AI agent the permission of the private key, so it becomes their wallet, so the ownership is always very dubious out there. So how we can do it with delegation toolkit, making sure the user's wallet is still owned by them, and while an AI can also come onto that. So that's one of the ideas that we were really exploring out there very recently, and we may build out this thing. So
Nice.
we never know. But
I
yeah,
think that's definitely
that
a
was
good
the most
idea with
exciting part.
the live coding session, Alejandro, that we did with the AI agent, right? Because we can actually like revoke or giving permission to do specific actions. And I think
Actually,
combining this, go for it.
yeah, no, actually, the main idea of creating a wallet AI agent was to use the delegation toolkit because this way you can delegate the transactions to the AI agent itself. So users do not have to sign the transactions. So yeah, it's actually quite cool. I wanted to ask, I mean, you have been one of the first persons to uh, work with the delegation toolkit. What was like your first impression about this? I know you had like a lot of help from Chin, which is a really good friend. So yeah, how was it? How was the process?
So I think yeah, Ayush brought it up as one of our chats, the other developer that we have, and he said that delegation toolkit is pretty cool. You should check it out. So we asked for the beta access and the API keys from you folks. We just emailed you out, and you guys were very happy to write it out. So I think that was pretty cool from you folks. Later, once we saw it out, so we also had a bunch of questions. We came back with our questions. I think we had a Telegram group where we figured out that we have these questions, and you guys really supported us. And also we explored a bunch of stuff out there, so we figured that what things could come up. We I think even Chen, during the hackathon, he was there around with us, helping us out and figuring out like how we can improve the developer experience. And thus I think we really provided some good feedback and also learned a lot from him. So that's a good synergy that we built over while using DTK. So it
That's
was
Oh
pretty
yes.
awesome.
cool.
Yes, and by the way, for the people hearing like Shintaka Chin, like he's the basically like he's helping a lot on the delegation toolkit side. He's kind of the DevRel support, like the DevRel Go and the expert on the delegation toolkit side. So if you're hearing as well, good job, and please DM me or like just reach out if you have any question you want to actually either integrate the delegation toolkit or build something similar around kind of like permissions and delegation. So cool. Thank you so much, Ashish. So we're moving forward. Please also like send over like your repo link that we can share with the audience, also like now in the chat and also afterwards. And yeah, looking forward to see. Congrats again on the branding, and also like to see like those 3 steps around 2025, kind of like next steps. A lot of work need to still to be done. Awesome.
Really good work.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so right now I think we are on our last session. So let's get started. So this chat I will start to bring on stage EG and Fabian. So this chat is all about Swell Chain and Dean. And we will go through like a lot of different backgrounds, why this is happening, why this is so important. But without further ado, let's ask a quick round of introduction. So welcome EG, welcome Fabian. Fabian, you want to quickly introduce yourself to get started?
Yeah, hi. I'm Fabian. I'm leading developer relations over here at Swell. Joined crypto in 2015, 16-ish. Been working in the crypto ecosystem since 2018, something like this, and kind of see it all. And very excited about the current developments because it's finally getting decentralized properly.
Nice. EG, you want to go next? I don't think you really need introduction, but let's do it.
No, of course I do. Nice to be here with everybody. My name's EG. I'm one of the co-founders of Infura. Infura started providing RPC infrastructure for Ethereum and Web3 in general in 2016. So I've been in the space a long time now. It's crazy. It's almost been 10 years for me. But about 3 years ago, started fully focusing on Infura's decentralized protocol, which is called DIN. It's a permissionless marketplace trying to build a way for people to get access to Web3 services, starting with RPC and then eventually other things as well.
Nice. It's actually great to have you both. And let's do a quick kind of like context, right, about Swell Chain. I know you guys kind of like, push layer 2 narrative, but Fabian, you want to give us a little bit of kind of like background, why first kind of like, you decide to launch another layer 2, and also kind of like what makes kind of like Swell Chain like different around kind of like this layer 2 ecosystem?
Yes, so we've been around the Ethereum ecosystem with mainly liquid restaking and restaking products, and we figured that the congestion on mainnet can be so high that if you really want to take advantage of what's possible with it, kind of only works if you have a dedicated chain for this one. And this is why we decided to go for layer 2, which is a vanilla OP stack. And rather than just adding more block stays, we decided to create the application layer built for restaking based applications. And we kind of saw a clear need in the market for this one. While other L2s focused on general purpose-ish computation, we are making sure that almost everything on our chain is based on restaking, so you really can take full advantage of this, like I just said. Yeah. And nice. We are using different ABSs, and we can get into this at a later point in time, but yeah.
Oh yeah, love the work that also you're doing around agents, kind of like building this kind of like ABS side. So that's actually super interesting. Okay, cool. EG, a little bit background on Dean. I think like it's important. We kind of like cover a lot around kind of like how kind of like Dean support all the MetaMask kind of users. I also want to know like how kind of like Dean support also like MetaMask devs, not just like users, right? But I think it's a mix of the two, right? Sure. And if you want to share any kind of like diagram flow, how kind of this decentralized node infrastructure works for the people hearing us, would be also great. So anything is
sure.
Good.
Yeah, sounds good. The main thing in how we support MetaMask and what the value of DIN is whenever somebody's trying to transact with the blockchain, whether it's just sending tokens directly or interacting with a DAO to participate in governance or do something related with NFTs, anything that you do requires sending a transaction, and that means having a node. And back in the day when we first started, you had to run your own node infrastructure to do that, and you would download a wallet and you would point the wallet at your own local node. And so when Infura started doing that so that primarily MetaMask users could immediately start trying out Ethereum without having to do that, it was a huge unlock in the growth of the ecosystem, because now you could onboard tens of thousands of users, whether or not they understood like the technical specifics of what a node is and how to run it and what the disk space requirements are and how to keep it updated and all of that. And so that was the main value that Infura provided for the first few years for Ethereum. And we made it all the way until 2020, until we had to start adding other chains. That's how long we were able to just focus on Ethereum, and our job was a lot easier. And then 2020 came, and people started to do a lot more things, starting with Polygon and Optimism and Arbitrum. And then there was this explosion of chains, and it became more difficult for us to serve that demand just as one team providing infrastructure for these new chains that users were trying to interact with. And that became burdensome for our team to be able to keep up with updates and even just know which chains we should be adding. And that's where we started to have discussions about what was the best way to keep up with that demand, especially I'm sure people that are listening to this call have probably had the issue of, I want to interact with this chain. Is it supported with MetaMask? How do I add that token here? Or what RPC do I put in? And that all goes back to who is a reputable or performant RPC provider that you can use for that, because you don't want it to fail at a critical point where you actually need to interact with that chain. And so DIN kind of came about because of that. It was, what's the best way to solve that problem? And our solution was build a permissionless marketplace where people can quickly discover all of the chains that are available. All of the providers can say what services they offer, and it creates a better experience for how people discover and use these things.
Nice, nice. Actually, super exciting, and I think also it provide definitely like a way to give how do you say, like a more resilient infrastructure, right? For both kind of like dApps developers, dApps kind of like yeah. So I think and the fact that it's an agglomerate of kind of like you can actually relay transaction. It's a more reliable and efficient way. Like. How big is DIN kind of like today? Can you give us some numbers? Like is expanding on different kind of like layer twos, right? And how kind of on the infrastructure availability? Like how many kind of like of these kind of infrastructure provider are there? Just to try to understand the size of what people can expect.
Sure. When we first started, we were the only RPC provider for Ethereum. Now there are dozens that are available, and there are dozens that are participating in DIN. And that's one of the great things about this protocol is it's not really, in my opinion, creating something new. It's capturing in an on-chain protocol the way that people have started to prefer to interact with their infrastructure providers. So before, when somebody would build, they would just sign up for Infura because we were the first one and only one at some point that supported the network they needed. And now there's a bunch of different options. And so people don't just use one infrastructure provider, because for something as critical as like a DeFi trading platform, especially, you want to have some sort of backup or failover or redundancy built into your RPC infrastructure. And so they'll use us plus maybe like 2 or 3 other providers, which right now means having like 3 different credit card subscriptions for how you use these services, putting them all into your SDK, and then it's a bit clunky, right? And so building the marketplace allows somebody to just have one integration that utilizes DIN as a protocol for how it discovers and pays for these things. And then I lost my train of thought. Sorry, can you repeat the last part of that question, Francesco?
I think was you kind of like answered, right? I think like
Okay.
the resilience of the infrastructure and how big is this infrastructure, right? Because if I'm like kind of like a dApp developer, dApp builder, I want to actually use DIN. My first question is like, how big, how this support is kind of enabled, right? And you touch on kind of this dozen of also of provider, and also interesting in general around what's the kind of like what's the logic on relaying the transaction to each single provider? I definitely I think it's based on different factors. You want to touch a little bit on that?
Sure. I can share a visualization also if it helps
that would
for
be great.
people. Let me.
I really like when people bring visuals and things.
Sure.
There you are.
There we go.
Yes, perfect.
All right. Yeah. So the core components in DIN are dApp developers interact with this protocol through a gateway. So Infura is one of the gateways, and it's the one that we operate right now. And eventually, it's permissionless, so anybody can run one of these gateways. And what a gateway does is it runs a router which determines how requests or API requests get routed to infrastructure providers serving that particular service. So let's talk about Swell Chain, because Swell Chain is one of the protocols that we launched recently last month. And when somebody needs to interact with applications that are on Swell, they would have to run the node infrastructure for that. But because it's offered through DIN, there are several RPC providers that are already servicing Swell. Our Infura gateway purchases capacity from those infrastructure providers, and existing Infura customers just enable the endpoint and already get connected to those infrastructure providers. Say that there's 4 of them. You don't need to go to all 4, have a subscription with all 4, and maintain that in your code. There's this one endpoint that you're using that has the redundancy of the 4 infrastructure providers behind that. What we're working on next, leading up to our release at ETH Denver, is getting our on-chain payments integrated. So right now, we pay on behalf of the users. So these dApp developers have an Infura subscription, and we on the back end are paying these infrastructure providers, but it's in fiat right now. We're getting our payment system implemented so that we can actually have tokenized payments, which is an incremental step towards actually removing ourselves, disintermediating ourselves in that flow, and allowing dApp developers to interact just with the protocol and not have to go through a credit card gateway. The other entity I should mention on here on the right-hand side is our Watcher system, which is what you would expect if you follow kind of the technical blockchain space of watchtowers and things like that. Something that monitors the health of the network. If somebody says, hey, I'm a Swell infrastructure provider, something out there has to attest to that and say, well, does it adhere to the specification of the RPC? What's the performance of it? Where is it located? To your point about how transactions get routed, maybe somebody only wants to route transactions to a well-known provider, or somebody that's in a particular geolocation, or meets any kind of criteria that they have. And so as a marketplace, we offer, or we consider this a service registry, where providers register the services that they offer and kind of tag it with different things. I'm based in Europe. I meet like this amount of requirements. I run this type of hardware, and like bare metal or cloud. And whoever is determining what service provider they want to use can filter based on whatever criteria they have. And the Watcher is one of the things that we have to validate criteria.
Nice. Yeah, you bring a lot of kind of like explanation also on the tower, the kind of the DIN tower, the DIN Watcher. So I think that's actually super useful. Feel free also, if you have any question, Leandro, to ask. Right? I want to bring back a little bit the Swell kind of narrative. Like now hearing all these like. Fabian, like, is there kind of like any reason? Okay, DIN is super attractive on that sense. Like, what kind of like how kind of like the thinking about having like the integration with DIN kind of like started, how it's going, and why it was happening?
Yeah. So for us, most of us also are like ETH OGs. So we've been using the Infura ecosystem for years now ourselves, and it's super dev friendly, right? So it offers everything devs want without like shilling Infura and DIN in this call for too much, but it's really the ease of use is unmatched. So they another thing is it really fits in our narrative of proof of real estate, right? As soon as the AVSs are fully launched and fully running, we can delegate security via Eigenlayer to the AVS, and also we're going to encourage projects using these just to further accelerate the flywheel of the whole purpose of our chain. One sec, my son is coming. Good stuff. Yeah, home office. Yes, and so the whole collaboration makes chain more accessible for devs on our end as well. It's robust, it's fail-safe, it's redundant by default. So if anything is going down, you don't have to make sure that you handle everything in the back end. You don't have to have some spaghetti code in your code base to make sure that in the background everything's still running. You kind of have multiple high quality RPC providers just matched in one. And as soon as the payment, the on-chain payments are done as well, it also unlocks many more use cases. So I'm really looking forward, and it's a major focus for us because it helps kind of support the vision for us to be the most value generating environment for LRTs.
Speaking about focus, I know you guys also working on the ABS side, on the agent side. There is a lot of things you want to kind of touch a little bit on the, what are the kind of exciting things that are happening in the ecosystem?
Can you repeat the last question again? Sorry.
Well, yeah. What are you guys working on specific things? I know you guys are touching on ABS side. I know you've been working also on the agent side. What kind of other things excite you or are you working on right now?
Yes, so currently we are onboarding the last stack of major partners, like Euler just launched on our chain, which enables the whole borrowing lending part on Swell chain. And now we are, I think in about 3 weeks-ish, we're launching a hackathon, which is based on ReadChain. It also has read staking, and with multiple tracks from AI automation to DeFi trading and infra, and some wildcard for the new and shiny things. But we are trying to onboard as many innovative teams as possible to build on top of Swell chain right now. And this is also, I think it's a good thing that we do have this collaboration with DIN and Infura right now. And obviously the hyped topic of AI agents, right? We're working on the infrastructure for agentic DeFi and restaking based services, mostly managed by agents. And this also needs a reliable infra layer. So the other day I had a chat and I've been speaking about infra when I meant dApps, but it's interchangeable at some point right now. So the dApp infra layer, not the technical one.
Yes. That's exciting, actually.
Super important to have reliable, redundant systems there, which are fast and affordable, and not too expensive. You can't really have 3 or 4 different cloud providers attached 100%. To agents eventually, right?
Yeah, of course. And I mean, RPC is a backbone on the infrastructure. And think about decentralized RPC within it's something that I think infrastructure provider, dApps developers, dApps owner are actually thinking this is something they solve a lot of my kind of latency problems. Not just on the latency side, on so many things. But EG, are you touching a bit on Denver? So what's happening next for Dean that we need to kind of look around?
Sure. One thing I wanted to mention really quick was Fabian mentioned you said infrastructure, you meant dApps, and I had been saying, because people always talk about what's the next killer app, or what is the thing that's going to really start utilizing all of this new block space. And I'm we're building DIN, it's a protocol, it's infrastructure. I'm well, wait a minute. The way that we're building DIN, our payment system is built on top of our Linea L2, and there's going to be significant transaction volume generated through this, because if you imagine that every time somebody is not just creating a subscription, but actually there are some ways where our system might have a transaction for every type of certain request that comes through that might be in the millions per day. So yes, DIN's infrastructure, but I also see it as an app that could generate significant transaction volume, no different from a consumer application.
Yes.
So
Agree.
yeah,
It's not just about RPC.
for
Agree.
sure. And so one of the things that we've been working on, we announced it at DevCon, was that we are in the EigenLayer AVS family. So that's another way that we got connected, is DIN is building itself as an AVS. So as an Eigen AVS, that's going to be the way that people can participate as an operator running infrastructure for the DIN marketplace. And we're running some workshops with people interested in understanding more about that at ETH Denver. A lot of the participants that are already helping collaborate with us in building the protocol have been getting together periodically at these workshops so that they can understand what kind of infrastructure is needed for the protocol, what new networks are going to be added, doing things like adding a very heavy chain like Solana. It isn't something where you can say, we're going to start supporting Solana on DIN. There's only a certain amount of infrastructure providers that can really handle a chain that's as demanding as Solana. And so we've run working groups around how to run like performant indexers and how to help like raise the bar of all infrastructure providers in terms of the quality when it comes to running RPC for a chain like that. So we'll be doing some things around that at ETH Denver, and we'll have more to share the closer we get to that.
Nice, nice, nice. I know we are almost on time, but Fabian, I know you're excited always about kind of like the marketplace. I don't know, you want to touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, just yeah. So for the ones listening, I just checked into the kind of private chat that we also have to cover the marketplace, because it's not just about the RPC, right? There's so much more to it, and I'm really looking forward as to the ABS side and how Swell Chain and Infura and yeah can collaborate there, because still kind of early, right? It's not a meme there. Yeah.
True. Agree, 100%. So any closing word, EG or Fabian, before we close up here?
Maybe EG can start. I'm going to collect some links I want to send.
Oh,
Sure.
yes. Please share links.
Let's see. One of the things that is beneficial with DIN is that it's built a community really around infrastructure providers now. Like there was just so many people build on the same kinds of technology where we benefit from sharing lessons learned and pains that we encounter. Actually, one that just came out today, I tweeted about, is there's a security bug in Geth that was mitigated, and so they made a quick release, and that historically affects pretty much many chains that are built off of Geth. So if something is an OP stack optimism based chain, there's going to be a lot of work for infrastructure providers today to roll out updates for every single OP stack chain that's impacted by just that one bug in upstream Geth. And so participating in DIN as like a network is one thing. Participating in DIN as a community is beneficial, even if you're not using like particular services on it. Like this, it's almost like an infrastructure DAO as the way it's shaping up, and I'm really excited about that. So for people that are interested in following that journey, DIN build is our X handle, and there's going to be a lot more activity on there soon.
Nice. Thanks, EG.
If we can share that, like the social next on the chat, that could be great.
Oh, yes,
That link also.
Sure thing.
We share it out. Awesome. And Fabian, any closing words? I think we shared the links. We're ready.
Yes. I just shared some links. So for us, it's super important to get feedback. If you are using, or if you're interested in building on Swell Chain, or if you're interested in using services by Swell. So I just shared the links to the to the Discord. Our consensus mechanism is somewhat special. It's like proof of restake. We didn't touch on this one, but I highly recommend looking into this, because it's the flywheel of the ABSs and the block space. And once our bet is that in future this one's going to be used heavily. So I think it's going to be shared in a second. And I also shared the general Swell Network website there. And yeah, so we are always looking for people building on Swell chain, obviously, as a layer 2 and chain in general. But we're also offering grants and incentives for building, for teams building on Swell chain. So just follow our socials, and we'll keep you posted. We got some things in the works. And if you're looking for interesting AI, DeFi, agentic stuff, that's also something prepared. So gonna be a fun time.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Awesome. Awesome. Also, okay. So much. Thank you so much, Fabian. Thank you so much, VG. We're sharing all the links, post calls, not just in the chat. Let's do some closing up of the calls. I will untoggle you guys. Thank you so much, Fabian.
Thank you so much.
VG. See you guys later. Awesome. 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 Okay. Okay. So some closing words. We are almost. I mean, we're actually on time, Alejandro. So let's finish this up. But super useful, right? Which session do you like the most?
This last one was really, really insightful. You know, they were talking about really good stuff and really great, like the RPC method. The Dean marketplace is actually quite cool. It's was awesome. I think this one was my favorite, actually.
Nice,
And
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we are sharing. I think actually, like the team shared the Infura, the Dean white paper. Actually, super interesting to read because I had to read like at least 2 times to understand a little bit like how the relay works, how everything kind of
Yeah.
around the latency. I think there is a lot of like interesting part. Okay, let's some closing remarks, guys. So we are, as we mentioned before, we will be next at ETH Denver. We're planning to do another builder night. We're actually like bringing a lot of like interesting players in the ecosystem, but most important, we have actually like a surprise talk, and I think we can say it in the live stream. So will be Dan Finley, the co-founder of MetaMask. He will actually like give a great talk around from kind of like all the story around kind of like from permission. So a big focus right now around the ecosystem is all about 7702 and 7715. So a lot kind of like permission. So a lot of different kind of like permission ecosystem, how we are pushing that narrative here. And then also we are having like some extra and spicy agent panel with some of the top calibers in the ecosystem. But by any chance, always like feel free to reach out and ask us questions, not just for Builder Night, but also like for anything else, for eDenver related, for Bounty related. We're also planning, as we mentioned before, Leandro, we're also planning the MetaMask Developer Cook-Off starting next month with SDK as kind of like the major bounty. So people need to reach out to you, Leandro, like if they have anything to ask, anything to say for SDK, this is the time.
Yeah. Also, if they have an idea on what to build, whatever, that's it.
Nice.
We can provide some feedback on that. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, especially now that the CLI is almost ready, right? I think it's there is no excuse anymore to actually build and take something already pre-built to take it. Okay, no, sounds good. And then last small point here, we're trying to get better all the time. We have actually like a 30-second couple of questions. What do you guys want in terms of like content? So as you see, we're mixing up kind of like product update, fireside chat with kind of like high caliber in there in the ecosystem, and also like bringing top builders. They're actually presenting what they build, really hands-on. So hands-on things. We don't want to speak too much high level here. So, but if you like think I want to get and hear more of this, I want to have more of those fireside session. I want the community call being longer, right? Feel free really to answer in this. It's literally like a couple of questions to just say what kind of product, what kind of like interest, and what kind of vertical you want to see more. I think definitely like 1 hour is not enough. I think we're bringing so much things like together. It is exciting to see what is happening. Awesome. So I think we're there. Thanks everyone again. Thanks Alejandro also for pushing this. I think this is always concentration level in this call is always need to be very high because the concentration content is always there. But also big shout out to all the people in the background that make this possible around coordination of the speaker, coordination on socials, coordination of the live stream, especially like Kay and Amarachi on the background. So well done to everyone that pushed this great community call forwards. So without further ado, thanks so much, everyone. And we probably see each other like next month for the next MetaMask developer community call with a lot of more insights, a lot of more kind of like showing up, especially because we're pushing to ETH Denver, so that we'll be excited. Any closing word, Leandro? We're good to go.
Well, so thank you so much for staying around, and yeah, thank you so much. I think it was amazing.
Awesome. And we're sharing both the links post recording, both in newsletter and on chain, anywhere else. And thanks everyone for making this possible, and thanks for staying for the full hours and 10 minutes or something. Awesome. Thanks everyone. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.